The cold wind rolling across Lake Michigan cut through the night like a blade. Far out on the dark water, a luxury yacht rocked gently with the rhythm of the waves. From a distance, it looked peaceful, almost elegant, its lights glowing softly against the black lake. But inside that yacht, nothing about the situation was peaceful. Jack Abbott sat on the edge of a wide bed in the master cabin, his head heavy, his vision swimming. His mind felt like it was wrapped in fog. He tried to focus on the room around him, polished mahogany furniture, dim yellow lighting, curtains swaying with the movement of the boat. None of it felt real. His pulse throbbed in his ears. What did you do to me?" Jack muttered. Standing nearby was Patty Williams. Her eyes glittered with the strange mix of affection and madness that had haunted Genoa City for years. She smiled at him like a devoted nurse watching over a patient. "Oh, Jack," she said softly, "you were exhausted, you needed rest." Jack tried to stand. His knees buckled. The room spun violently. Something was very wrong. Patty rushed forward, gently guiding him back onto the bed. There, she whispered. "Victor said you might resist at first." Jack's heart dropped. Victor, of course. Somewhere deep inside the haze clouding his brain, Jack understood the truth. He had been drugged. Across the country in Las Vegas, another storm was brewing. Nick Newman leaned against the railing of a quiet rooftop overlooking the neon chaos of the Strip. His jaw tightened as he stared at the glittering lights below. Behind him, Adam Newman stood with the calm confidence that always made people uneasy. "You're getting impatient," Adam said. Nick turned sharply. "You think?" Nick snapped. "Matt Clark has been threatening my family for months. Now you're telling me we just sit here and wait?" Adam folded his arms. "We don't wait," he said coolly. "We prepare." Nick scoffed. "Prepare for what?" Adam's eyes darkened. "For the moment Matt Clark realizes he walked straight into our trap." Nick studied his brother carefully. Adam had that look again. The one that meant he had already calculated every angle. "You're sure about this meeting?" Nick asked. Adam nodded. "He'll come." Nick frowned. "And if he does?" Adam's lips curved slightly. "He will." Nick exhaled slowly. "What about Reza Thompson?" Adam checked his phone. "I need to talk to her first, she's the key." Nick clenched his fists. He hated waiting. Matt Clark had pushed things too far, threats, manipulation, intimidation. Nick was ready to end this nightmare. Once and for all. Back in Genoa City, Nikki Newman paced anxiously inside the Newman ranch. Her mind raced with the disturbing information Victor had shared. Across the room sat Tracy Abbott. The worry on Tracy's face had deepened with every passing hour since Jack disappeared. "Have you heard anything?" Tracy asked nervously. Nikki stopped packing. She hesitated, because what she had to say would only make things worse. "I spoke with Victor," Nikki said carefully. Tracy leaned forward instantly. "And?" Nikki took a breath. "Victor believes Jack is being held on a yacht." Tracy blinked. "A yacht? In the middle of Lake Michigan." The words hit Tracy like a punch. Her face went pale. "A yacht," she repeated softly. Nikki nodded grimly. "Oh, yes." Tracy struggled to process the information. Why would anyone hold Jack there? Why go to such extreme lengths? But Nikki wasn't finished. "There's something else," Nikki said quietly. Tracy's heart began pounding. "What is it?" Nikki hesitated again. Victor mentioned a woman. Tracy froze. "A woman?" "He wasn't sure who she was," Nikki said, "but he believes Jack isn't alone." The room suddenly felt colder. Tracy's mind raced through possibilities. And none of them were good. Out on the yacht, the situation had grown far more dangerous. Jack lay back against the pillows, fighting to stay conscious. Patty sat beside him, watching him with obsessive devotion. "You're safe here," she said. Jack forced his eyes open. "You kidnapped me." Patty laughed softly. "No, Jack, I rescued you." "From what?" "From Diane." Jack frowned. Even through the drug haze, he knew this conversation was spiraling into madness. Patty reached out and gently brushed his hair back. "You and I belong together," she whispered. Jack's vision blurred again. His thoughts drifted. The drugs were pulling him under. Patty leaned closer. Victor's plan was unfolding perfectly. And somewhere far away, Diane Jenkins Abbott was getting closer. Much closer. Back in Genoa City, Diane paced outside the marina office. Her instinct screamed that something was wrong. Jack had vanished, and no one had answers. Billy Abbott approached her carefully. "You shouldn't be here alone," Billy said. Diane shook her head. "I know Jack," she said firmly. "Something happened to him." Billy studied her. "You think Victor is involved?" Diane's eyes flashed. "When is he not?" Billy sighed. "I've been making calls," he admitted, "trying to track Jack's yacht activity." Diane froze. "Did you find anything?" Billy nodded slowly. "One of the marina managers mentioned a boat heading out late last night." Diane's heart started pounding. "Jack's yacht?" Billy nodded. "And it hasn't come back." Diane didn't hesitate. "Then we're going to Lake Michigan." Hours later, the wind whipped violently across the dark marina. Diane stepped onto the dock, staring at the row of luxury yachts rocking in the water. Billy stood beside her. "You sure about this?" he asked. Diane's eyes burned with determination. "I know Jack is here." They approached one particular yacht. The lights inside were dim, but someone was definitely inside. Diane marched toward the door, and then she heard it. A voice. "Patty Williams." Diane's stomach twisted. She pounded on the cabin door. "Jack." Inside the room, Patty's head snapped toward the door. Jack stirred weakly on the bed. Diane pounded harder. "Jack, are you in there?" Patty's smile slowly faded. The moment had arrived. Outside, Diane's fist slammed against the door again. Inside the cabin, Jack struggled to sit up. The drugs clouded his mind. But even through the haze, he understood the disaster about to unfold. Because Patty was sitting beside him. And to anyone looking in, it would look like they were in bed together. The door handle began to turn. Diane was about to walk in. And nothing would ever be the same. The yacht door burst open. Cold night air rushed into the cabin as Diane Jenkins Abbott stepped inside. For one frozen second, no one moved. Then Diane saw them. Jack Abbott sitting on the bed. Patty Williams right beside him. The blanket twisted around them like evidence of a crime. Diane's breath caught in her throat. Her face drained of color. "What the hell is this?" Diane whispered. Jack tried to stand. The room spun violently and he collapsed back onto the mattress. "Diane, wait, it's not what you think," he groaned. Patty slowly stood. Her expression was calm, almost amused. "Oh, Diane," Patty said softly, "you shouldn't have come." Diane's eyes burned with fury. "You drugged him," she snapped. Patty tilted her head slightly. "That's such an ugly word." Jack struggled again to rise. "Diane, listen to me, Victor." But the drugs still clouded his mind. His words barely made sense. From Diane's perspective, the scene was clear and horrifying. Her husband in bed with a woman who had spent years obsessed with him. Her heart shattered. "You disgust me," Diane said coldly. Jack shook his head desperately. No, this is." Patty stepped closer to Diane. "You see, Diane," she whispered, "Jack needed someone who truly understands him." Diane's eyes flashed. "And you think that's you?" Patty smiled. "I know it is." Diane's patience snapped. She shoved past Patty and rushed to Jack. "Jack, look at me," she demanded. Jack's eyes struggled to focus. His voice came out weak. "They drugged me." Diane froze. "What?" "Patty, Victor," Jack whispered. Patty's expression darkened. "That's enough," she said sharply. Diane slowly turned toward her. "You planned this," Diane said. Patty's eyes glittered. "Victor planned it." Silence filled the room. Diane's stomach twisted. "Victor Newman." Of course, only Victor would engineer something this twisted. "You're insane," Diane said. Patty laughed. "Maybe, but Victor promised Jack would finally see the truth." Diane stepped closer. "What truth?" Patty leaned in, whispering softly. "That you were never good enough for him." Before Diane could respond, the sound of footsteps echoed outside. Billy Abbott burst through the doorway. "What the hell is going on?" Billy shouted. He froze when he saw the scene. Jack half-conscious on the bed. Diane furious. Patty standing calmly like she owned the room. Billy immediately understood. "Patty," Billy growled. Patty sighed. "Well, this reunion is getting crowded." Billy moved toward Jack. "Jack, can you stand?" Jack tried again, barely managing to sit up. "My head," he muttered. Billy glared at Patty. "What did you give him?" Patty smiled sweetly. "Just something to help him relax." Billy's jaw clenched. "You're lucky I don't throw you into the lakes." Patty shrugged. "You could try." Diane grabbed Jack's arm carefully. "We're getting you out of here," she said firmly. Jack nodded weakly. Billy helped him stand. Patty watched them with a strange sadness. "You're making a mistake, Jack," she said quietly. Jack turned toward her. Even through the fog, his voice carried quiet strength. "No, Patty, you are." Patty said nothing. Billy and Diane guided Jack out of the cabins. The yacht rocked gently behind them as they disappeared into the night. Patty remained standing alone in the dim cabin. Victor's plan had gone terribly wrong. Meanwhile, in Las Vegas, the meeting had begun. A quiet warehouse near the edge of the city. Nick Newman stood beside Adam as the large metal door creaked open. Matt Clark stepped inside. Two armed men followed behind him. Matt smirked. "Well, well," he said, "the Newman brothers." Nick's fists tightened. "End of the road, Matt." Matt chuckled. "You really think you two can scare me?" Adam stepped forward calmly. "You misunderstood the situation." Matt raised an eyebrow. "Hello?" Adam smiled slightly. "You already lost." Suddenly, the warehouse lights snapped on. Police officers flooded the building. Matt spun around in shock. "What the?" Nick moved fast, grabbing Matt and slamming him against the wall. "You're done threatening my family," Nick said coldly. Matt struggled, but the officers quickly restrained him. Adam watched quietly. Nick turned to his brother. "That's it?" Nick asked. Adam nodded. "That's it." Matt Clark was finally finished. The next morning in Genoa City, Jack sat in the Abbott living room wrapped in a blanket. Diane stood nearby, arms crossed. Billy leaned against the fireplace. The tension was heavy. Jack looked at Diane carefully. "You believe me, right?" he asked. Diane studied his face. The exhaustion, the confusion, the sincerity. Finally, she sighed. "Oh, yes." Jack's shoulders relaxed. "But Victor will pay for this," Diane added. Billy smirked. "That line starts forming behind half of Genoa City." Jack leaned back slowly. "Victor wanted to destroy us," Jack said quietly. Diane nodded. "But he failed." Jack reached for her hand. "We're still standing." Outside the Abbott mansion, the sun slowly rose over Genoa City. But the battle between the Abbotts and Victor Newman was far from over. Because in Genoa City, peace never lasts.